How's it going, guys? I'm going to start this video off by telling you that I currently absolutely hate this car. I usually don't get stumped on Hondas, but I've never done like an EF chassis like this, and I personally don't usually ever do EFs. That's kind of why I wanted to do this CRX build, just so I could maybe learn a little bit more and be more knowledgeable of the old school stuff, because like I said, I usually build like EGs, EKs, whatever, but these EFs are a totally different wiring game, and yeah, it's definitely got me stumped. But hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. I'm trying to grow the channel as much as I can, so yeah, enjoy. How's it going, guys? Back at it here in the HunterTuned driveway, throwing this CRX together. Obviously in the last video we got the motor installed. I haven't really done anything since then other than put the passenger side axle shaft in here. As you can see, this side is pretty much all together, and now I got to do the driver's side over here. And I noticed on these spindles when I put it all together that the brake pad right here, there's like a clip sticking out of the brake pad here, and this was actually rubbing on the wheel, and I was moving the car back and forth last night, and I noticed that it was like rubbing and scraping really bad, so I'm probably just going to end up cutting this clip off. A lot of these clips sometimes make a bunch of noise anyways, so I'm just going to cut that short so it doesn't rub on the wheel. And I have to get an axle shaft for the driver's side, because the axles that I got from a guy, he actually ended up giving me a D series axle for the driver's side, so kind of screwed there. I gotta get a driver's side axle now, and then the axles will be in, and my shift linkage is already on as well. That's a pretty simple job. Just gotta the linkage here just bolts on to the side of the trans right here, 12mm bolt. And then you got the bitch pin right here to hold the other section of the linkage on. And then on the back, there's two 12mm bolts that hold the rest of the linkage up. I also have to figure out my clutch cable, because I don't have a bracket to hold the clutch cable. And I think I need a specific one for cable style transmissions, obviously. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. But yeah, we're going to throw the harness on and, you know, run the coolant lines and stuff like that on the back. Heater hoses, all that fun stuff. Now I'm on my way to the junkyard, and I'm going to grab a few things. I need, there's like a weird U-shaped heater hose that goes from the intake to the coolant pipe on the back of the motor. And then I also need like one of the heater hoses and some other small stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the junkyard and get this stuff, you know, because we're doing this on a budget. So we are at the junkyard now, and just got some hoses for the CRX, like this little U-shaped hose and upper radiator hose. But yeah, that should be all we really need. And I just figured I'd walk over here and show you guys the selection of LS trucks and vans and whatnot that we have at the junkyard close by me here in Neenah, Wisconsin. The amount of Cadillac North Stars that are here is ridiculous. They literally have like, I don't know, probably like a half-mile long row of just Cadillac North Stars. If you don't know, those frickin' motors are complete garbage. As soon as they blow a head gasket, they are pretty much throw them in the garbage. Here's the first LS that I seen. This is a 2006 4.8 liter out of a work van here. So probably Gen 4 motor. I just hate vans. I hate vans because they're so freaking crammed. You have to like work on them from the inside of the car. Another 4.8, 2006. So another Gen 4 motor. There's another one over there. I don't know if this one's an LS or not. No, that's an older one. Here's another work van. Another one over there, that's a 5.7. 5.7. Here's another 4.8. There's a lot of 4.8s in the junkyard. Another one. I'd really like to find out what year, like vans and whatnot, came with the flex fuel style fuel injectors, because I'd like to get another set of those, because we used them in my buddy's Honda Civic and they flowed like damn near 1200 cc's. So if I could find some more of those, that would be awesome. I just don't know what year they all came out of and what they all came in. So if you guys know, leave it down in the comments and let me know what year vehicle they came with the bigger fuel injectors. Really just in the van aisle right now. I'm not even like looking at trucks, but here's one. There's a truck motor. Another truck motor. Another truck motor. There's another one back there, and there, and there. So there's 6 of them right here in this spot. Another Yukon. Here's another LS. Oh wow, this one's actually missing. But yeah, there's, I mean, literally just back-to-back LS motors here. These are all like 5.3s and whatnot. Here's another one. What's up, guys? I am back again working on the car. I had to run up and get more parts. I actually didn't have the clutch cable bracket for the B series motor, and then I needed what else did I get? Some starter bolts, and then I got a coolant temp sensor plug, because on these CRX harnesses they have this little black and yellow plug here, wherever it is. It's right here, which it pretty much just has like 2 female style electrical connectors on it that you need to actually splice into and run those wires into the coolant temp sensor on the B series, which is on the thermostat housing. This thing's been fucking fighting me like crazy. I actually had to go to the store and get a different axle, and then I put the axle in, and the little retaining clip on the end of the axle was actually fighting me and not actually allowing the axle to go into the intermediate shaft. So I had to frickin' pound on that thing to get it in, and then I got that done, and then realized that once I got everything tightened down, all assembled, I realized that there was still an old chunk of axle laying in the hub. Like the backing plate on behind the hub here was actually locking everything up, so nothing would spin freely like it should, like it is now. This was actually locked up solid because there was still a piece of I don't know what it is, like a bearing race or something that's on the back of the hub there. I also got my exhaust on, and this like cross member thing here. So I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of an update on the car, and I got it in the garage. Everything's back on the ground now, and just got a lot of the wiring tidied up. Got the map sensor hooked up. These map sensors on these cars are actually externally mounted, so I just got to run a vacuum line to it. I got my battery kind of installed. My clutch cable and all that stuff's good now. I'm going to fire it up without coolant first, and then kind of just double check everything and make sure there's no catastrophic leaks before I do anything crazy. And then I am going to install the radiator and stuff after that. But first I have to actually take the computer out of the car and install my jumper harness and my P28 ECU. So I was on Struggle Street really hard last night with this car. I actually went to go get an oil filter for it, and turns out the oil filter adapter sandwich plate thing on the back only fits like a 13/16 oil pitch, or it only fits a 13/16 thread pitch oil filter, and you know, Hondas I think are like 3/4 or something like that. So yeah, I made like 4 trips back and forth to get oil filter, and finally got the right one on there, and then I went to go crank it over to start it, and it's not starting. So it's got no spark right now, and I'm just chasing the wiring back to the ECU because I did convert OBD0 to this OBD1 distributor. So I'm just going to verify exactly what wires are going to what pin on the ECU. That way I can verify the wiring is straight, and the diagram I used online was a true diagram that will actually work. Alright guys, this car has been absolutely fighting me every damn step of the way. Yesterday was the axles, then I couldn't find the right damn oil filter for this oil filter sandwich plate, and it ended up being like some freaking huge 13/16 thread pitch for the oil filter. And yeah, now I can't get the damn thing to run right because the distributor was bad, and then I had to rewire the distributor, and now I rewired the distributor the proper way that you're supposed to, and it throws a crank position sensor code, and yeah, I can't even explain all the shit that I've been going through with wiring on this thing. Like, I haven't had a Honda fight me this bad in a long time. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm working with here. This is just a diagram I got off of HondaSwap.com. And this is like the dual point to multi-point pinout, but I'm just using it for like the wire colors to see what, you know, what wire color and everything, so I can line up these crank position sensor wires. So the left side is going to be the dual point fuel injection row. So like all these on the left there, and then on the right is supposed to be the multi-port fuel injection wiring harness colors for the wires. So all these are good, all these are good. And at B10, right down here, it says B10 is supposed to be an orange wire, which it is, and it is the crank angle sensor. What's funny is this left side of the page here is actually supposed to be for a dual point fuel injection car. I don't know, you tell me if this harness looks molested or not. It looks pretty damn clean to me. I just took out the pin, or the, you know, the pin holder things on both sides, but this harness looks brand new, like nobody's ever messed with it. So I'm not sure what harness this actually is. If you guys have any recommendations on what harness this could be, I'd really like to know, because this is just being an absolute pain in the ass. Now, I got some diagrams here for OBD1 as well, the pinouts. And as you can see here, we're looking for the crank position sensor, CKP positive, or CKP, you know, ground, whatever. So yeah, we will check this out and see. I wanted to see where the wiring went from that orange wire. So if we have the orange wire here, sorry, I'm gonna try to mount the camera under this dash here somewhere. You guys can see this. Okay, so that orange wire, this harness is broken, so don't look at this and say anything. But anyways, this connector plugs into here. The fifth one on the bottom row is that orange wire that we were talking about, that crank position sensor. So that one goes from, you know, 5, and then I traced it through the jumper harness here down to the plug on the ECU, on the OBD1 ECU, and actually came up with the cylinder position sensor, not the crank position sensor. So crank position is actually feeding cylinder position, which is wrong. So we're gonna have to move these wires around and get it to, you know, go where it's supposed to go. All right, so this thing, I tried. I have 2 different distributors. I have one off of an OBD2, you know, B16, like a Civic Si. So it's got the, you know, the black and yellow and blue, and then the 8 wires or 7 wires in the same plug. And then I also have an OBD1 B16 distributor. Tried both of them, and I can get the car to like fire up and sputter a little bit, and then it dies immediately. This car was like completely perfectly running before this, so I don't think it's like ignition switch or anything like that. A lot of guys online say that the ignition switch fails on these. The only thing that I can think of maybe is that the distributor wiring is wrong, and I can't get the I can't get it to run. I mean, I either throw a top dead center code or a crank position code, code 4 or code 8, I believe. And yeah, I am fucking just livid with this car right now. Like I said, I usually don't get stumped on Hondas, but you guys haven't seen a video in the last couple days, and this is all I've been freaking doing. This car has been fighting me every single step of the way. No joke. Like, sometimes these cars, like, I don't know, like a couple cars that I buy, you know, everything goes great, everything works super smooth, and it goes exactly how you planned. And then you have cars like this thing, and it literally fights you every step of the way, from taking a month to get pistons, and then, you know, not having all the parts, and then having to take the cylinder head because it had bent valves, and then having a broken head stud, and then an axle situation where I had to go get an axle because I didn't have the right ones, and then having to, you know, put them in, and then the hubs locked up, and because there was still like a piece of I don't know if it was like a wheel bearing like cover or cap or something that was in there, so I had to take everything back apart, pound that out. I've just been going fucking ham on this car lately, and it is not paying off. And I'm honestly getting desperate at this point. I don't know if it's just because I haven't slept much, because I've just been thrashing on this thing. And usually, like I said, I can throw these cars together in like no time at all. But yeah. Yeah, the only thing I can think of right now for a solution is right here. Little Sam Adams. Anyways, guys, if you guys know of any people that are like super good with these EF chassis, so it has multi-port fuel injection stock. So I bought the car thinking, okay, it's multi-port, I can literally just swap pretty much any Honda motor into it and plug it in, and it'll work. And that is definitely not the case, because I feel like a lot of the distributor wiring is messed up, and I feel like a lot of the you know, like the jumper harness may be, you know, running wires to the wrong slots. I went through every single wire on the distributor and, you know, traced it with a multimeter from the distributor to the ECU plug and verified every slot on the ECU and wired it accordingly to what I seen on the ECU. Like I said, I'm fucking stumped. I don't know if I burned out the distributor because I wired them wrong, because I probably wired it wrong a time or two, because the car harness, or the ECU side of the engine harness, has you know, wires that are misplaced. So I don't know, I'm fucking rambling right here. I'm probably not making any goddamn sense, so I'm gonna end the video right here. Like I said, if you guys know of anybody, or you personally know a lot about these EF chassis, please message me on the HunterTuned Facebook page, or on my personal Facebook page. Add me as a friend, Hunter Mulholland. And yeah, help me out, man. Snapchat, you can also get a hold of me there. I leave all these links in the descriptions to contact me. So if you guys have anybody that knows about these cars, please get a hold of me, because I'm dying to get this thing done. I got a lot of work coming up, and I got to get this thing out of the shop so I can fix these other customer cars that are paying customers. I got to get this thing done by the weekend. So have a good day, guys. Like, share, and subscribe to the video. Or like, share, and subscribe to the channel, I should say. But yeah, till next time, we will